I was recently asked, why does my back hurt when I do planks? And as I looked at this video of this particular person doing a plank, I realized there's a couple of strategies that this person is using that could be contributing to their complaints of pain. And then I realized this is a really common strategy I see across a lot of my clients as well. So I thought this was a good opportunity to do a video and talk a little bit more about that. So one of the things that I see a lot in plank, whether it's plank on your knees or plank on your elbows or even a full plank upright on your hands, is I tend to see a butt tuck and a low back kind of flattening out and losing its curve. And oftentimes we do that because we think that that's neutral or that we're preventing the low back from arching, and that's because we're cued to do it in that way. So one of the things I'd like to talk to a little bit more about today is about the importance of keeping your pelvis and your spine in a neutral position. The low back is supposed to have a subtle curve, and when we have that subtle curve, you are really able to tap in and access that deep core. The deep core is the most important part of any of your core muscles because that's the one that's responsible for your stability and to keep you injury-free and help eliminate any symptoms that you may be having. So I have my spine model here to kind of demonstrate that. So this is somebody on their hands and knees just like I was, and you see how, pay attention particularly right here, how that low spine has a little bit of a curve, okay? But what happens is we tend to uncurve that and tuck our butt under, okay? So we're gonna actually spend a little bit of time just on hands and knees talking about how to find neutral spine. We're gonna actually start with arms, because if we can tap into a good arm position, we're gonna feel stronger in our plank. So without moving your hand position, I want you to think about taking your upper arm bone and turning it outward gently so that your armpits face the wall straight in front of you. You can see I have a tendency to lock my elbows. So you just want to make sure elbows stay nice and soft. Another thing that we see oftentimes is a collapse through the upper back. Use this opportunity to spiral your arms, soften your elbows, and push the mat away from you and feel that scapular or shoulder blade stabilization and engagement. And that's a really important piece here. The second piece is let's check in with the front of your ribs at the base. So a lot of times a common tendency is to let those ribs thrust. So we want to give just a little feather lift up, but we don't want to be using so much abdominals that we're cranking into a rounded spine. So be careful with that as well. And the third piece of this is the angle of my pelvis. So I'm using right now this video feedback to adjust my positioning. So you'll see me doing that throughout this video. So if you can record yourself or if you have a mirror where you can get some feedback, that could be really helpful. So the last piece of this is knowing your low back and pelvis position. Most of my clients think this is neutral because they think flat back, okay? But really, flat back is still having just a little bit of a curve. I think the word flat back should be replaced with neutral spine, okay? They just don't want this or this, okay? So they say flat, which really means a little curve in your low back. So if you look at the angle of my pelvis, my sit bones here are facing straight back to the wall behind me versus tucked and pointing down to my calves. We're going to try a few breaths here in our new position. Note that this position may feel a little awkward. For some of you, it may feel like you have a really giant curve in your low back. And just keep practicing and playing with this, and your body will start to feel a little more comfortable and confident in this position. So let's start with a little bit of breathing. I want you to think 360 around the base of your rib cage, that you're opening your ribs like an umbrella. Inhale, exhale. Okay, we're going to use this breath now, and we're going to play with what I call a quadruped rock, which is a really nice way to start working towards planks. So keeping a neutral spine, inhale, exhale, lean as far forward, or rock as far forward as you comfortably can, maintaining a neutral spine. Inhale, exhale. Know that I am not here, okay? Keep that spine neutral as you rock forward and back. The other thing I'd like to point out here is you only want to use the amount of abdominal activation that is required for the exercise. So what's required is how much work that takes to maintain your neutral. If you're doing any extra ab engagement, that's going to increase pressure in your back and in your pelvic, and specifically pelvic floor, and is bringing you out of that alignment. So in this position, you can see the top of my core, which is my respiratory diaphragm, and the bottom of my core, which is my pelvic floor, have good alignment in communication. Here, they do not, okay? So let's say you've been playing with your quadruped rocks and you feel really good about being able to keep a neutral spine in that position. You can start progressing that. So we might start with inhale, exhale, slide a leg back. Okay, inhale, exhale, slide a leg back. And if that starts to feel pretty easy, we could do inhale, exhale, maintain neutral, double knee lift, excuse me. Okay, and if that starts to feel pretty good, we could do inhale, exhale, leg slide, inhale, exhale, second leg slide, don't lose that neutral position, okay? The same thing is true if you wanted to practice down here on your elbows. So you would still want that arm, upper arm position, and that push through your elbows so that you're not sagging down, okay? And then coming to your knees, practicing in neutral, inhale, exhale, and then maybe even a full plank. Inhale, exhale. So a couple rules with your progressions are 3 questions. Am I breathing well? Meaning that 360 umbrella breath. And am I in good alignment? And particularly if you have diastasis, making sure that you're not doming your belly too far forward when you work through these progressions. This is all about the fine-tuning and the alignment and the breath in order for you to be able to access your deep core. If you've liked this video, we do have a 1-hour workshop, Floor and Core Connection Foundations, and it's all about how to take these tips and tricks and incorporate them into exercises you're doing anyway. So try this. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns. We'd be happy to answer. Just comment down below.